Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Unity of Sebring. Can you hear me now? I'm T-Rex Conyer, and I'd like to welcome you here this morning. If you're new to Unity of Sebring, please don't dismay. We always just have fun. At this time, we're going to do our daily word reading. And Daily Word is a publication of Unity Worldwide Ministries. So bear with me. I think we'll do just fine. And our word for today, October 27th, 2024, is creative. And our affirmation is, the creative energy of spirit expresses through me. Can you repeat that affirmation with me, please, together? The creative energy of spirit expresses through me. Don't know my own power there, I guess. Stunning visual arts, inspirational music, a brilliant performance. These are all lovely examples of creativity, but they are by no means the only ones. Creativity is the very nature of life. From the most soaring, soul-inspiring instance to the mundane moments that fill daily life, creative acts abound. Creative activities are prayers in action, a continuation of divine activity in its infinite manifestations. Living is a creative act. It's the way I am in the world, the way I love, and the way I relate to all others. Understanding it in this way, I see how I am using my thoughts, feelings, and imagination to create my experiences. I bring my divine gifts to life through my creativity. And our scripture today is from Genesis 1:26, and it reads, "Then God said, let us make humankind in our image according to our likeness, and let them have dominion." Again, our word for today is creative, and if you'll join me one more time in our affirmation, please, together. The creative energy of spirit expresses through me. And so it is. I feel very expressive this morning.
And as we prepare for this time of our souls relaxing into that sanctuary where we are one with Spirit, all those gathered here are so blessed today. It's so welcoming when you step in the doors. You can feel everyone's heart open, receptive, loving, and it makes you want to share all that is within. And so we take this time to lay aside all the worries of the day, and we joyfully, sedately move into that time, that precious time with Spirit. for we know we are one with God. We relax our bodies and allow our bodies to simply support us as they do, wonderfully, joyfully, gratefully, filled with enthusiasm in life, knowing that we are led, we are guided every step of our journey is designed for our highest good. We are so grateful to have found a safe place within that we can go and know and learn about ourselves. For when we delve deeply into ourselves, we find the glory of God that lives within us. God is. God is. And we know whatever background we come from, today is a new day in our lives, and we can dream, we can do, we can love, and we can share all that is within us that yearns to be shared. As the Daily Word said, some have talents of creativity in music, in poetry, in motion, in caring. Whatever talent we have, whether we realize it or not, we share that beautiful part of ourselves with our friends, family, and all that we come in contact with, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And so in this time of silence, we allow those friends and others to come to our minds and be filled with our love, our gratitude and our joy, our sharing of who and what they are as we are in the silence. And we give thanks of gratitude and joy for all those who have come into our lives, whether near or far, we know that they know we love them. And we share that love to everyone in the world. No matter what, no matter where. They are truly loved, even as we are loved. This week, I came to a realization, and I will share with you that life is about fun, friends, faith, talents, and appreciations. So whichever one of those that you specialize in, take it to heart and share. For God is, we are. So it is, and so it shall be. Amen.
Thank you, Voices of Unity. Thank you, Sally. Thank you, everybody that makes this happen every Sunday. Thank you, everyone who is here this morning joining us. Bless you, those of us for the first time. I promise I'm not really a witch. Yeah, I ran into someone at Habitat Restore, someone from the theater this week. They were getting some costuming for the Wizard of Oz production that's coming up at the theater soon, and we got into a conversation about costumes, and I said, I've got to make sure I've got the finishing touches for mine for Sunday at church. And she said, Sunday at church? You're wearing a Halloween costume? And I said, yeah, actually. And she said, oh, what are you going to be? And I said, a wizard. And she said, in church? And I said, yeah, we're different. Yeah, we're a little different here. And we embrace the celebration, we embrace, our unity, we embrace. That's what it's about. And the reason that I am a wizard today, or a sorceress, or a witch, I was actually told a shepherd, which works. If they had really fancy purple cloaks, that's really cool. But the reason I chose to be this Sunday is because this week in our book that we're doing, our Quest for Wholeness, the chapter is Spiritual Alchemy, the transformation of suffering. So what better to choose to be than an alchemist of some sort? And you don't need this costume to be an alchemist. You are an alchemist. We are all alchemists. We are all in the space of transforming everything that is happening within us and everything that is happening coming toward us in this world. We transform it either to our healing and our blessing, or we transform it as something that is made to hurt us or victimize us. The wand is in our hand. The power is in our hand. No one else can decide what you're going to do with the things that are happening in the life that is presented to you. You're the only one that gets the chance to do that. And we are all alchemists. Before I go much further, and I don't want to forget it later, I don't think we will, but all of us who are in costume, and anybody who wants to really, after our Sunday is over, we'll come up here and we'll take a picture of everyone. We do that every year for our costumes. The song, I am healed, whole and healthy. What a wonderful thing to hold. I wanted to hold a few of our people right now in our hearts and in that energy of healed, whole. We have a couple people in particular that tomorrow will be undergoing some medical procedures, and we want to hold them in our hearts and know that song. We are healed, we are whole, we are healthy. The way we step into things like these procedures, like our beautiful, wonderful, most beloved Tina is going to have a bionic knee placed tomorrow. And so we hold Tina and we know that her body cooperates. We know that our body cooperates. It doesn't just cooperate when we're going through a procedure like that or through what we would call a dis-ease or a mending that's happening in our body. We can hold that as an invitation. We can, going into something like that, we can say, I am open, I am receptive, and I not only endure this, I welcome this for my good. I see my body moving through anything that I would term as pain or dis-ease or an invasion of some sort. I invite that knowing that it is for my good and that within my body, I take it, I welcome it, I call it Godness at work, and it transforms me as it happens. I claim my wholeness in this and every moment. I see the magic, the alchemy, the transformation, and the healing even as I head toward a procedure, something that I'm concerned about or I'm holding in heart. I hold that divine source, guidance, love, healing, and wholeness in it. I know and I feel that Godness going to work in my body, in my affairs, in my life, in my world. I feel that alchemy transforming anything that I would hold as something that needs transforming. Anything that I hold. Our book this week, we had a wonderful Zoom room conversation on Friday night. And then yesterday, and many of us were here, we had an amazing concert by Daniel Nemad, who, if you were here yesterday, we got to know a lot more about Daniel yesterday. He told us more about him. He did amazing singing. He played beautifully. We laughed, we cried, we sang along. We were transformed in that time. And it's funny because we have so many things in our lives that we almost forget to see after a while because they're there all the time. And yesterday when we were getting ready and sound checking and doing all this stuff, Daniel had his stuff right here in the front and he said, we're going to move that table, right? And I said, no, that's our altar. And, we will keep the altar there. And he said, that's really a big energy block for me. And I thought, really? And I looked at it and he said, well, yeah. He said, look at it. He goes, you've got the table, you've got the two things on this side, you've got the cloth and you've got all this stuff on top of it. He said, it's really, really kind of stands between me and the audience. I had never looked at it before like that. I thought it was a beautiful altar space up here with its beautiful white cloth. And so the whole concert yesterday, I sat over on the corner going, that would be kind of big up there. Does look kind of nice to have it open. Where can we do that in our lives? Where can we allow someone who is coming along in our life, looking at what we see every day and almost forget to look at, and where can we reconsider what we do with what we have in our lives? So we moved it, and when we were putting it back, I thought, well, do we need the cloth on it? Why do we have it the way that we have it? Why is it there the way that it is? And so this morning, Steve was telling me before service that I had come as the cleaning lady because I was Windexing and cleaning and moving and shifting, and we were moving it one way or another and re-examining it and its place in our service, in our life, in the things that we do. And when I stood back and looked at it, I thought, it looks so much more open. It looks very clean. And where can we do that? This week, in our lives, where can we look at our bedroom, our kitchen, the way our cupboards are arranged? The way I see Reva going, don't you tell me to go looking through my cupboards this week. But where can we look at the things that we do that we've gone blind to? We don't see them because we see them every day. Where can we reappreciate the blessings in our lives? Where can we redecide and reclaim what it is that we would like to do? That's a part of the spiritual alchemy. What does it mean to us? Is it just there and we walk around it every day because that's where it is and we walk around it every day? Or do we consciously examine what is in our lives and decide what works, what doesn't, what we would like and what we would like to experiment with? Nothing's written in concrete. You can change and rechange and rechange. We have this thing where, and Dave and Tina and I have talked about it, I can't tell you how many times over the last weeks and months, and Josh before him, we all talked about the fact that you guys wouldn't know this unless you're up here with the choir, but this stage, there's a part of this stage that absolutely you can't hear what's right in front of you. So we have the choir up here singing away, and I've heard some people have said to me some Sundays, I don't want to be critical, but, you know, the choir was kind of off from the piano today, and I don't understand why they didn't seem to be together. Well, that's because the piano's right there, but the choir can't always hear what the piano's doing because of the way we had our monitors placed and because of the way this space handles sound waves. So again, Dave says yesterday, you know, maybe we should move the monitors. Maybe we should move the monitors. Duh. So we moved the monitors. This morning, Dave, I can tell you, you can hear. It really changed everything about the experience of sitting up on the stage. Spiritual alchemy. Where do we examine the life we're living and see those I could have had a miracle moments and see where we can transform something that we consider suffering. Now, this chapter is called the transformation of suffering. And I've talked to you before about that word suffering to me. You know, pain is inevitable in this life. There are things that are going to hurt us. There are things that are going to scare us. There are things that are going to bring us to our knees. To me, suffering is optional. You can, even in the lowest times of your life, feel so connected to God. One of the most connected times I had well, I've had so many, but one that stands out for this to me is, I remember my husband had to have emergency quadruple bypass surgery in 2019, the beginning of it. It was right after my daughter, the month after my daughter had stepped off the curb and shattered her leg and had to reconstruct the bottom part of her leg. So she wasn't driving. We were just dealing with what's right next in front of you, doing everything we could to just make it from 1 minute to the next, ferrying kids to school and all sorts of things. And so here comes quadruple emergency bypass surgery. And I remember I was sitting in the waiting area, and it was 5 o'clock in the morning or some ungodly hour, and it was dark and there was no one there. And I, for just a moment, I felt very alone. And I was scared. And I didn't know how this was going to work. And they had wheeled my husband through the double doors. And I had that moment of, will I ever see him again? Because in open heart surgery, they literally stop your heart and run your body for a little while with a machine. And I sat for just a few moments, riding waves of panic. And something, I don't even know what it was, I had like a hitch in my breath or something, and it forced me to go, and as soon as I did that, I thought, the breath of God. I'm sitting here in the breath of God. Of course, whatever happens through this, it is going to be revealed as something that is sent by God in our lives to transform into something that brings us closer to that Godness and helps us through. And right at that moment, my phone dinged. And I didn't recognize the number, and I usually won't answer it, but I went ahead and answered it, and it was the gentleman who was going to be keeping my husband's vitals going while his heart was stopped. And he said, Mrs. Yancey, I don't know why I just got the nudge to do this, but would you mind if I texted you throughout the procedure and let you know when we're stopping his heart, when we're putting him on the machine, and then when we're restarting his heart? He said, I just feel like you need to be a part of that process. That was the biggest gift anyone could have given me in that moment, because I was just sitting there wondering, when they stopped his heart, would it ever start again? And I was able, sitting there, to feel absolutely transformed. And I silenced my phone and I was watching my text go. And so many people from my congregation over there were texting me, we're here, we're with you, just letting you know we love you, just letting me know we're holding you in prayer. And I learned when they stopped his heart, I breathed deeply and just felt the connection between me and the people that were in that room with my husband, holding his life in their hands, literally. And then when the text came that they had restarted his heart and it was beating strong, I was able to breathe and know that we were on the way to the next chapter. See, we don't always get the moments of someone connecting us that deeply, but we are always connected that deeply. We are always with one another on that level. Know, wherever you are, whatever is happening in your life, I may not be able to drive there and sit by you. This week it has irritated me so much. We've got Bill in rehab. We've got Mary in rehab. We've got Margie in the hospital yesterday that I'm finding out as we're going. We've got Val healing. We've got all these things happening. And I haven't been able to get to everyone in person, and that has really bugged me this week. And you guys went and visited. And Joe and Lynn went and visited, and people were calling and then texting me, Barbara texting me, Mary is done with surgery and here's what's happening. But we're all in this, holding one another in this family of love, knowing that we are in God every single second, and we're in this together. No matter where we are geographically, we're in our hearts. Daniel, after the concert yesterday, and I got a chance to sit and chat for a little while about my coming here. He said, I've heard a little bit, and we retold the story, and we're talking about it, and Daniel said, divine appointment. Divine appointment. You were all called to that same time, that same space, that same opportunity for healing. Nobody else could have done it. Now, that's nothing to do with my ego and everything to do with the fact that our chapters were aligned. The chapters of our lives, the transformation of our suffering, the claiming what had happened and what we were going to do with it was such that we were all called to the same time, at the same space, because we're in God. Yes. And we all get to cooperate with that. Or not. Or not. Friday night on the Zoom call, we were talking about how long do you want to suffer? I shared a medical story that had happened with me that I had a pain in my thumb, and I was like, it hurts, but I can kind of make it. It hurts, but I can. Months later, I found out I had a dislocated thumb for 2 months, and that it was just barely enough dislocated that I could function, But in those 2 months of just deciding I wasn't suffering that much, I've scarred myself for life because it went so long that it tried to heal the way that it was. Where are we in that, in our lives? Where are we thinking something just, it's not that bad. I can deal with it. I can wait with it. What do we choose to do? What resources do we choose to put in place when something is happening? When you're in crisis, do you go to the friend who will join you in that crisis? Who will talk about how horrible that person is? Or how awful your situation is? Or how terrible What are we growing? Or do you go to the person that will hold it with you and hold the high watch and join you in prayer and know that it will transform? What do we choose to do? In this chapter, and I've got so many things marked, but in this chapter, it makes me think, the prescription, the view, how do we view things? This morning I was so wrapped up in making sure that this is Mel's cloak, by the way, and Corrine, her wife's staff, and this was a group project, but I forgot to put my contacts in this morning. And it made me think, what are we using to look at everything with? When we have the tools right there in front of us, do we reach for them? Do we pay enough attention or pray enough attention that we find what will help us change and transmute our suffering and learn the lesson in it? I'm reminded of, they used it in the book, Jacob wrestling with the man, with the angel. It's different versions of the Bible call it something different. But at night, it's interesting that he had sent everyone off. He had sent his resources one way, he had sent his family another way, and he was by himself with nothing but just himself and his godness. And a man, an angel, a whatever version of the Bible you're reading, came and wrestled with Jacob all night. All night. They wrestled and wrestled. And there's a few interesting points that are one interesting thing is it leaves you not knowing who won. There's not a clear winner declared, but it also leaves you believing and knowing that that angel he was wrestling with was God. That he was wrestling with God and that God couldn't take him down, which again, this is Old Testament, Genesis, Bible language, where God would just as soon lift you up as knock you down. When really it's that divine nature within us, that divine call. And he wrestled and wrestled and wrestled, and the man, the angel, the godness couldn't take him down in the end, and finally just hit him in the tendon so that his hip was out of place enough so that he was taken back so that the wrestler could get away, as it were. But before he did, and Jacob said, I am not going to let you go until you bless me. I'm not going to let you go until you bless me. See, that's an interesting way to look at our suffering. That's an interesting way to look at the things that we wrestle with. Are we claiming the blessing? Everything that comes to us that keeps us off balance or that is dis-ease or that concerns us or worries us, every single thing, if we can just change our relationship to this, guys, if it can become the ding notification on the cell phone that goes, here we go, ding, suffering. If we can hear that or feel that and immediately go, oop, invitation. I'm about to be handed an invitation to evolve and grow and succeed. Instead of saying, there it is again. Yeah, here's the next thing. Oh, devil's in it. Here comes the devil to get me again. What do we say when these situations show up? Because what we say and what we believe determines everything about what they can do in our lives. The worst events of my life have brought me to the best places I've ever been. Because we claim it or not. We can be a professional victim all our lives. That's a choice. It's all about our choice. You know, what the butterfly sees as the end of, or what the caterpillar sees as the end of life, the butterfly sees as birth. So what will we allow? Richard Bach, who wrote Jonathan Livingston Seagull and a whole bunch of other stuff, he said, there is no such thing as a problem without a gift for you in its hands. And again, it's how we see it. So many people say it's all good or everything happens for a reason. Everything happens. The reason depends on you. The reason depends on you. There's so much more to this chapter. There's so much more I could say. There's so much more that we can claim. But I hope that we can hear in this that what we choose to take from what comes to us in our lives is how we become an alchemist in our own existence. Every single thing that comes to challenge us is an invitation to grow. If you can allow that relationship to pain, to suffering, to fear, here it comes. Here's my next invitation for transformation. If we can truly meet it that way, our world would be a different place. Our world would be a different place. In you, I see God. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.
Trish, Tina, and the production team thank you for joining us. You can submit a prayer request, donate, and find more information on our website at www.unityofsebring.org.